Well, the reason I made a speech on this in the Parliament on Monday is I've had literally hundreds of emails and letters on this. It's a very a subject that's very of great interest to my constituents. What troubles me about this is that it passes from civil law into criminal law. So whereas it would be a matter between private individuals in a civil court, now it's going to be criminalised. And I think that's very dangerous. Because we might not only see the imposition of very, very big fines on people, but also people being extradited under European arrest warrants if they're alleged to have infringed this legislation. And I think the legislation itself is very faulty. I think that this isn't the way. Of course, people's intellectual copyright has to be protected, and that's quite right. It is under the law already. This isn't the solution. It's draconian, I think, in what it's trying to do, in that it's going to limit innovation and free speech and investigative journalism. And not only that, but if you then find you've alleged to have broken the law, you're going to find yourself a subject of criminal proceedings rather than a civil proceedings. So I think the whole thing is the wrong way to do it. It's wrong, and we will totally oppose it. There's certainly the representations that have been made to me by people who actually operate on them in the internet, and that's what they're very worried about. And of course, there is a case for regulating what's said on the internet to some extent. My view is that. Personal view is that people say things on the internet, they should do it under their own name, and we should know who's saying what, because it's the internet is open season on libel and being able to make untrue statements about people and things. So I certainly think that there's a case for bringing that within the law, but I don't think this is it. I think that we have to have free speech within the laws of libel, and of course they are civil laws, they're not criminal laws. And also we have to enable people to innovate and to develop new ways of doing things. I think, and we've seen where this can go. In America, we have a case in the UK of Richard O'Dwyer, who's a young man of about 21, 22, who made a link to people's pirate internet sites, which may have been a very silly thing to do, but he's a young boy. He should have been put right, if you like, in a civil court in the UK and told not to do it anymore. But instead of that, he's being extradited to the USA, where he could face many years in prison in their abysmal prison conditions for doing something that's essentially rather silly. And I'm totally opposed to that. But what that is going to do is now is going to make that possible across European borders. It's bad enough that we've got this ridiculous extradition treaty with the USA that makes it possible, but now that kind of thing could become possible, as I say, in the European Union. So I think that not only will stifle free speech and expression and innovation, it's also going to cause untold numbers of cases of injustice, such as we're already seeing with the European arrest warrant in other contexts. I've had some letters through, and I'll look at everybody's side of the argument, but I never meet lobbyists because as they're wasting their time, because I never vote for more EU legislation anyway, so they tend not to bother me. But I'll certainly take into account the arguments on both sides, and I was asked yesterday to be the UKIP spokesman on ACTA, so I'll be familiarising myself with all sides of the argument. But I think at the end of the day we're saying, well, first of all, UKIP doesn't want any more legislation from the EU, and I think one of the things that's worrying about, well, not worrying, it's very, very bad about this ACTA proposal, is that once it becomes law, the ACTA committee will have the ability to amend it and make more laws without any reference to any other national parliament or even the European Parliament. So they're going to be a law-making body in their own right. It won't be subject to any democratic scrutiny. That's got to be wrong. What kind of world are we living in where we're giving people the power to make laws who are not elected and don't have any accountability to the electorate? We're building some kind of, I don't know, some kind of dictatorial police state in the EU.